Are we ready?
Always.
Well, good morning and welcome, Helen. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to PS 69 in Jackson Heights. PS 69, you should know, it really is a great school, having achieved an A on each of its past 3 progress reports. And if you remember, progress reports are based on improving. So each year the standard gets tougher because you have to start from where you left off the year before. So that really is impressive. And I would like to thank Principal Martha Vasquez, who's right here. You're going to hear from her in a few minutes, but I wanted to thank her for hosting us today and congratulate her and her team on their great work. And I had inside the chance to talk to a few of her teachers, all of whom the subject was the fact that they were born after I graduated high school. Nevertheless, nothing is more important than building a strong future for our children, and that includes they're having a safe place to play. And that's what our Schoolyards to Playgrounds initiative is all about and why we're here today. Across the city, schoolyards are beehives of activity when school's in session, but once the last bell rings or classes break for vacation, as we all know, typically the gates close shut, the yards sit empty, and neighborhood kids have to look for other places to play. So 4 years ago, through PlaNYC, New York's sustainability agenda, we identified hundreds of public schoolyards that could be opened up year-round. Nearly all were in neighborhoods most in need of open space. And despite the economic downturn, I think we've maintained our commitment to this innovative program. We promised we'd get it done, and we're doing it. And today, by opening this newly converted schoolyard at PS 69, we've turned 200 schoolyards into year-round playgrounds. Our Schoolyards to Playgrounds initiative also brings us closer to one of the central goals of PlaNYC, and that was making sure that every single city resident lives within a 10-minute walk of a park or a playground. New Yorkers, I think it's fair to say, cherish their outdoor spaces, and we love to use them. They are important to our health and to our quality of life, and that's why our administration has worked so hard to create not only new public parks, but also open spaces of every kind. And in the time of tight budgets, our schoolyards represent a great opportunity for transforming existing underused resources cost-effectively into something that we can all enjoy. Over the past decade, under the leadership of Parks Commissioner Adrian Benepe and First Deputy Mayor Patty Harris, we've created more than 710 acres of new parkland, and our converted schoolyards have created an additional 134 acres of open space. That's helped us increase the proportion of New Yorkers living within a 10-mile walk of a park or a playground to 71% of our population. And if you remember, that was one of the goals of PlaNYC, everybody living within a 10-minute walk of open space. PlaNYC calls for a total of 230 schoolyards to be converted into playgrounds by the year 2013, and we're currently determining a schedule for an additional 28 schoolyards. The Parks Department is the one overseeing the conversions, and this new yard here at PS 69 is indicative of the work that's happening across the city. The entire community collaborated with multiple city agencies to redesign a playground that local residents would want to use day in and day out. And for Jackson Heights, that's critically important because in 2007, the neighborhood containing 4,243 kids for each of its playgrounds is far above what we believe it should be. And today, with the opening of this new schoolyard, Jackson Heights averages 3,050 kids per playground. Still not enough, but dramatically better than the 4,243 that it was before. This new playground, you should know, will be open after school hours until dusk, and on the weekends when school is not in session, and when school breaks for vacation, it will be open all day from 8 a.m. until dusk. Before introducing other speakers, let me just note that a handful of the 200 schoolyards we've opened are temporarily closed right now for upgrades and school construction projects. but you can always find an updated list of the schoolyards that are currently open at the Parks Department webpage at nyc.gov. Our 200 schoolyards operate, you should know, just like any other city park, except that the Department of Education still retains control of these properties and are in charge of maintenance. In total, the city will invest more than $87 million in these converted schoolyards, but like so much of government's best work, this initiative is the product of a public-private partnership, and our biggest partner in this effort is the Trust for Public Land, which has a wonderful 35-year history of building beautiful urban parks and conserving open spaces all around the country. On that note, let me turn the floor over to some of the people who've played a major role in this project, starting with the director of our Office of Long-Term Planning and Sustainability, which oversees PlaNYC, David Bragdon. David?
Thank you, Mayor. 200 playgrounds, and each of them is distinctive and different because each of them reflects the ideas and the inspiration of the children and the teachers of that school, as well as the surrounding community. Each of them different, but collectively, they all reflect the values of PlaNYC and this mayor's vision for the future of the city. It's a simple recipe. You set a goal, make it simple but ambitious. Secondly, get everybody together that needs to be, not just the different agencies of city government, but civic organizations like Trust for Public Land, like the community organizations, like the school children who helped design this. And then do more than one thing at a time. So today is about recreation. It's certainly about education for the students who helped to design this place. This is the only one of the 200 that has fossils in it, so I challenge you to find the fossils when we're done. But it's also about greening the city and about cooling the city and making each neighborhood a greener and greater place for everybody who lives here, and making sure that when rain falls on the city, some of it goes into the ground instead of the sewers. It's about public health. So achieving all those objectives is what PlaNYC is about. We're happy to celebrate. Now we go on to Playground 201.
David, thank you. Next, our Parks Commissioner, Adrian Benavi. Adrian?
Thank you very much, Mayor. There's a long list of people I could thank. I'm going to make it very simple. I want to thank the designer, Dan Sullivan, from R.K. Morrison Associates, and the people who worked on the ground here, Kathleen DeMonico and Alberto Ruiz. The rest of you, you know that I appreciate the work that you've done. This is great. Just to put it in context, the number 200, that represents a 20% increase almost overnight in the number of playgrounds available to kids, and I think that's the most important number. And to put that further in context, it's the biggest increase over a short period of time in the number of playgrounds since there was a guy named Robert Moses and a mayor named LaGuardia who were busy increasing the number of playgrounds around the city. So it's also a very good investment because the average cost per site is less than $500,000, in some cases considerably less. Comparing that to building a new playground, that would be $1.5 to $2 million. So it's a quarter of the price, happens a lot faster, and almost overnight you have a big increase in the amount of open space available to our kids. And as the mayor has often said, this city must keep growing because the city is growing. We must keep building better parks and better facilities and healthier neighborhoods. Let me also thank the neighborhood, especially Ed Wesley and Jackson Heights Beautification, who worked and then deferred to the kids and said, let the kids design it. Thank you, Jackson Heights Beautification. I know we're working with you to add still more parkland as we can. And it makes me personally happy to walk into the school, see kids that speak 43 different languages and know they all have one common language, and that's PLAY. Thanks very much.
I'll have to work on that PLAY. I was never good at spelling. Chancellor Dennis Walcott. Why? Because this is a school, and he's going to maintain this. Dennis?
Thank you, Mayor. It's WALCOTT.
Thank you.
Let me just pick up on a couple of things the Mayor talked about. One, collaboration and working together. And I want to thank our principal, our teachers, our students, and also the neighborhood for collaborating together on this playground. It is truly beautiful. It's open to all. And that's an important thing that the mayor stressed, making sure that people within 10 minutes can walk to their playground. And the relationship that we have with the Parks Department is truly outstanding. And Adrian, under his leadership in working with the Department of Education, we've developed a number of creative programs together. We're always pleased to work with the Department of Parks. And to our elected officials here, the collaboration with them as well has been extremely important in opening up this playground to not just the school, but to the residents and especially the children, and the children having a place to play. play. The final thing is that when we talk about goals, the mayor sets goals that we have to achieve. And he wants us to achieve them by working together and making sure we know how to collaborate, cooperate, and at the end of the day, to make sure the residents of this great city benefit. So I want to thank the mayor for his leadership in setting a high bar for us to achieve too that will benefit all the residents of New York City. So thank you very much.
Dennis, thank you. The next speaker is somebody who is charged with giving us warm weather when we do outside events here in Queens. The Borough President of Queens, Helen Marshall.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you so much for this wonderful playground. I'm a teacher, and we know that children have to play and exercise their bodies. This just makes it a lot more attractive. And every one of these ceremonies that we go to, opening up these beautiful areas, there's a track. The children can run around it. They'll move their muscles, move their bodies, and they will have a good time right outside their school. It's a great investment for us. It's attractive. When I was a kid in PS 42, we just had plain cement. My kids only had plain cement. But today, many of our schoolyards they've just been enhanced so much by these wonderful programs in the yard here. And so I thank the mayor for that, because I'm a teacher and I know what it means for children to have outdoor time to play. I'm an early childhood teacher, so for young children, especially in elementary school, it's important. As they get older, in gyms they have basketball courts and things like that, but for younger children, elementary school children, this is just fine. And so I thank the designer, it's great, and I certainly thank our mayor. Thank you, Mike, for taking care of the children.
Thank you. And we'll forgive you for the cold weather. Next is State Senator Jose Peralta, who joins us. This is his district. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really want to thank the mayor for including this school, PS 69, in the Schoolyards to Playground program. As you know, this is a great neighborhood in which to raise a family. And if any of you read the paper just the other day, it was stated that Queens is the best place to raise a family, and this is one of the reasons why. And this new playground is going to make it that much more family-friendly by providing the kind of open space that this community sorely lacks and very much needed. I know my son is going to enjoy this playground, and I'm going to come down with him and enjoy it with him, where there's a place for kids to play, adults to work off extra pounds, or as a haven for anyone wanting to relax and unwind. This is a wonderful addition to our community. Again, I want to thank the mayor for making this a reality, because this is why we want to make Jackson Heights a destination, and this is one of the reasons why Jackson Heights is a destination. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
I thank you. The next speaker is an assemblyman, Francisco Moya. This is his first term in office, probably the first time he's had to stand outside when it's really cold.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. I am very, very excited to be here for the ribbon cutting of the 200th site of the Schoolyards to Playground initiatives. I applaud Mayor Bloomberg and Parks Commissioner Benepe for their proactive approach to increasing the number of safe places for our children to play. The collaboration between local residents and playground designers is a tremendous example of government officials working together with residents to create something that fits the residents' needs. Here in Jackson Heights, we have a number of initiatives to do that, including the play streets that were created during the summertime. This community believes in taking the extra steps to make sure that the children in this neighborhood are able to enjoy just being kids. And in times when we have childhood obesity rates skyrocketing, it is critical that we work to give children the opportunity to exercise, specifically in this community where we see that it is a high incidence rate where children don't have the open space that they need. I really take my hat off to the community folks that really did a lot of work, like Ed Wesley and the Jackson Heights Beautification Group. And again, I thank the mayor and Commissioner Benepe for all the work that they've done to really bring this wonderful, wonderful playground to this community here in Jackson Heights. So I want to thank everybody for that. Thank you very much.
Francisco, thank you. Next, this district is the City Council district, is the one represented by Councilman Daniel Drum. And I think he's probably pleased about this. Is that fair to say?
I am pleased and relieved about this. This is great. One of the big issues in this community is the lack of open space. And in fact, my district ranks second to last in terms of park space of any district in the whole city of New York. So this is a tremendous addition to our community. I want to thank the mayor and applaud the mayor for taking a playground, which is basically just an asphalt playground, and making something out of it, for thinking out of the box, although that has become somewhat cliche, but actually taking it and turning it into something that the community can look forward to coming to bringing their children to coming, sitting down, reading a newspaper while your children are here, or for whatever reason it may be that you want to come to visit it. We're also grateful that this will be we're grateful that this is the 200th opening of a schoolyard to playground, but we also hope that we have seen this construction begin at IS 145 for a similar situation. And we're also hopeful that we will have additional park space here in this community coming up very, very soon. I was a New York City public school teacher for 25 years, and one of the things that I like about this process the most is that the children themselves in the school were involved in the process of designing what this playground would look like. They actually sit down and they move little pieces of gym equipment, they take crayons and they draw, and they decide themselves what it is that they want this playground to look like. So this is really kid-friendly. It's a perfect addition to this community. And Mr. Mayor, we are very deeply grateful to you for your efforts on our behalf. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, but in all fairness, couldn't be done without the City Council or help from Albany or all of the other people that were part of the process, including our next speaker, Mary Alice Lee, who directs the NYC Playground Program at the Trust for Public Land. Mary Alice?
Thank you.
You must be freezing.
I am a little cold,
Way
but
to
it's all for the cameras. The Trust for Public Land is a national nonprofit organization that conserves land for people to enjoy as community gardens, parks, and playgrounds throughout the city of New York. Our partnership with PlaNYC has enabled us to involve the students and community on actually designing their own neighborhood park. And what's so special is that each of these playgrounds is then very unique. For example, the students at this school decided they wanted a rock climbing wall that had pieces of fossil in it. They wanted a human sundial. They wanted a bench that was shaped like a caterpillar. And I think these are things that are going to really make this park a special place for the students to use during the school day, and then also for the community to come and use as much as possible after school and on weekends. We're very grateful for our agency partners at Parks, Division of School Facilities, and the School Construction Authority, and to the schools and communities who have opened their doors to us. As a public school student myself, growing up in Staten Island, I just had an asphalt lot to play with. And so I know how much a park like this really means to the school and the community. And I thank Mr. Mayor Bloomberg for the creation of this program.
You're welcome. And our last speaker is our hostess, the principal of PS 69, Principal Velasquez.
Well, everyone that knows me knows that I'm not known for being a public speaker. So I like to just add my my thank yous to the mayor's initiative, Mayor Bloomberg's initiative of opening schoolyards as playgrounds for children. I feel as though we are the recipients of a jewel in Jackson Heights. And you heard the word collaboration come up many different times, and it really, really was. So I like to also thank the Trust for Public Land, the Department of Parks, our community leaders, and our entire school community for the support. And yes, our children did decide on what was going to be in this park. They've been a part of it. They are excited about it. We have been using it, and we're looking so forward to many, many years of enjoyment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Use it well. Let me, before we take questions, just summarize for our Spanish-speaking audience. Hemos convertido 200 patios escolares para servir como patios de recreo para el público en hora fuera del día lectivo en fines de semana y en durante las vacaciones. Más de 200,000 personas que no vivían cerca de un parque ni de un patio de recreo ahora tendrán más opciones para disfrutar espacios públicos en nuestra ciudad. And with that, we'd be happy to take some questions if anybody has any.